hey, I know you like dance and I know I can push you, and kind of like there's this button I can push to like convert you. So I think that's my role and in this dance industry and this like creative scene as well as Babel Dance. Yeah.
Hey Zouk Family, welcome back. One of my favorite portions of the week is talking to super interesting people who do super cool things. The Creative Conversations unit of Zouk Digital is the most inspiring for young people out there. And this week, we don't just have a friend, we have someone that we've collaborated with many times who is, and she will blush when I say this, but it's true, the best dancer, choreographer, most stylish person in Malaysia. Maybelline has helped us launch every single venue we have done in Genting. She's collaborated with Adidas. She's done a trillion different things with dance. Maybelline, I hope I did you justice. How are you?
I'm good, Joe. That's way crazy. What an introduction. Thank you.
So Maybelline, I've given you a bit of an introduction, but the best person to introduce Maybelline is yourself. So can you tell me, and so that the people watching you understand, how did you take dance from being something that clearly you enjoyed into your career, and it very much is a career today?
Yeah. How did that happen? I stumbled upon it. I started as a backup dancer for local artist Miss Nina, and after she decided to stop her career, I continued dancing and just realized that that's all I want to do, and I wanted to explore different aspects of it. So not just performance, but also how does it feel being a teacher? How does it feel being an dance event organizer? And how do I just explore myself in different ways through dance and music? So yeah.
I actually think there's a lot more to it than meets the eye, because at first glance, I see a lot of entertainment that comes from dancing. I see a lot of collaborations you do, and so a lot of very cool social media marketing of it, but it's very empowering for a lot of women in Kuala Lumpur. I know that a lot of women come to your classes and they get a real sense of confidence boosting coming from it. So can you explain about how you took it from, as you say, back in dancing into now teaching, and you have a huge following, but you also have a huge community of people that dance with you on a weekly basis?
Right. I think it's just kind of the way I approached dance went in a different direction when I started to explore more about myself as a human being and my own growth as a woman. So initially, it was all about performance and how do I look on stage and the energy I give out and making sure my clients are happy with the performance and the choreography that I put on stage. And then slowly, as I grew a little bit older and know that like this is all a lot more connected to not just stage, but myself as a human being. And then I started looking at dance in a different way, approaching it differently. So I started putting myself and my story or my journey into what I create, which is usually for class, and it because it's a small and a close environment, I think the energy that I give out is more well received, as you know, as like a as you running outlets, how the space also affects the way you reach out, right? So yeah, and I think thankfully I also had like a group of friends or women that were going through this like self searching journey, and it appealed to them because it was real to me, so it became real to them. So yeah.
It's a very powerful movement. As I say, it's more than just a hobby. For a lot of people, it's in a way of expressing themselves and feeling comfortable with the way they want to express themselves. You helped us launch our Empire Hip Hop Club with this amazing video that's on our 100-foot Wonderwall screen every week. Yourself, Donna, and the girls giving power through not just dance, but some really strong looks that pierce me every time I walk across Sky Avenue. But it's the perfect way for us to launch this product. You really managed to translate the vibe we wanted to put across. I see a lot of dance coming from your social media. You and your crew work very well and take songs, you use back alleys in KL, use studios, use different environments to create really awesome content. How do you choose what you're going to do? And more importantly for me, which I find a huge challenge watching, and I ask myself this every single time, how do you teach a class where at the beginning you're teaching them for the first time, and then at the end it's almost like a seamless routine that people have picked up really fast? How does that work?
Oh, that honestly, that just takes practice, because if you're a beginner and you come in to class and to have to execute the routine at the end of the class, at the end of like whether it's an hour or 90 minutes, it's quite scary and intimidating, because there's just so much you got to remember. And not just that, like your execution, your expression, and you have to put your own personality into it. It's actually quite a lot. So it took me many years to be able to do that. And sometimes when I take classes, I still screw up. So I think it's a matter of practice, as any art form, and to be able to reach the stage where it's beyond just movements, where you're able to perform and to capture your essence in the movement. So it's something that takes time, I would say. Yeah.
But you've helped create a real scene here. So before the lockdown, obviously, you had these Sunday events where Mayhem Jam, where people would turn up around a pool and you guys would freestyle dance. I've seen events where you've been inside warehouse spaces and you've done like whacking together. And this is me pretending to be cool as if I know what I'm talking about, by the way. But so you've really curated a scene, and that's something really powerful, because when I came from London, I remember there was a tour by two French twins called Les Twins who came and did pop-up dance events. And now you've nurtured it into a scene that's really growing quite extensively. How did that come about?
Actually, the dance scene in KL has always had their underground ciphers and just like their sessions where they just meet somewhere. Before MCO, they had a weekly one in Taylor's College. So people would just show up and jam. And also, they're just different ones. And then the B-boys have their own. And then some of the poppers will meet up at certain studios to just practice and session. So I think how Mayhem Jam kind of came about and brought everyone together is because of me and my partner Adam. So Adam is, because he's a music event producer and promoter. So he knew how to the right people, right DJs to bring together, and he's seen my scene as well, because sometimes he goes for dance events. So he understands. So he kind of put it together and line up. He knows what kind of music that I like and my friends like, and then I just gather my friends to like, hey, let's just get down and let's go party. So it was, I think, a meet of two worlds of the music industry and the music scene and the dance scene, which is what we really want to bring together. I mean, Mayhem Jam, that's what really is about, is to just bring together music lovers, music and dance lovers, and just have a good time. So
for an educational purpose, just for people listening in, can you give us a little bit of a background of maybe a chronology of how dance has evolved? Because I'm a huge disco fan. We go and we listen to trance, we listen to hardstyle and stuff in the clubs, but really, if I could, I would listen to 1970s disco and stuff. And there's been a scene that evolved, this whole whacking scene that's really popular in New York, where people would just turn up, express themselves on like a Sunday night in a club. Voguing. And so can you give us a little bit, you mentioned the b-boy movement as well, where a lot of people will understand breakdancing. Can you give us a little bit of a context to the different scenes that exist inside this dance community?
Well, there's a lot of different scenes. So if you're talking about street style, in street style there is the original styles, which is your hip-hop, house, whacking, popping, locking, and also Vogue. So those are the styles that are what we call original. So there are scenes and there are a lot of leaders in KL that really are leading this movement. And I would say hip hop definitely has its own ciphers, own sessions. But hip hop usually mixes with just different genres. So poppers will go as well. Some of the whackers and voguers will go as well. Voguing is led by Teddy, this like phenomenal local dancer that has totally just taught and just led this movement. He did their own ball, which is now growing, which is great. You got to be there. I think you'll love that. Whacking is not as popular now because Teddy he used to study whacking, and then he found voguing and he resonates more with voguing. So a lot of his students are now also like a crossover or both. They still do both, but they have their own thing going on, which is beautiful. Locking is not as big, but one of our local lockers, his name is Dylan. He started doing he started teaching in international school, which is called Sri Amas. And then he kind of got a lot of the foundation original style teachers to come together, so to teach the younger generation. And he's doing a phenomenal job too. So through the schools, he's teaching locking and all the other foundation styles. So the schools are doing that. But in terms of cypher, I would say the ones that are more alive would be the freestyle, the mix of hip hop and various styles, and also the bogus. And I believe the B-boys still do some of their ciphers in Bukit Bintang or other like city areas. Yeah. House actually is coming up too. House as well. They have their own, I can't remember whether it's Tuesday or Friday. It's a smaller group, but it's also very consistent. So we actually have quite a, I would say, active dance community that is not as out there like Mayhem Jam, but everyone is putting in work and keeping the community together. Yeah.
Looking at specifically what you do at Babel Dance, so what kind of lessons can people attend at Babel Dance? What do people learn week in, week out? And my second question would always be, what kind of fitness do you encourage for people who are going to get into it? Because I imagine it's an incredibly active hobby. It's also, I mean, you need to have fitness, because I watch you guys perform, I feel exhausted afterwards. You need to have some cardiovascular fitness base. But so tell me a bit more about Babel Dance, how it came about and what you guys are doing there.
Right. Babel Dance started a year ago. Initially, I was just only teaching dance in Babel. Babel is a gym. It's a gym. We have one outlet in Taman Tun and also one in KLCC. So I was the first dance teacher, and then I felt like I could do more, because before I joined Babel, I was already doing freelancing, choreographing and working for shoots and commercials and all that. But when I joined Babel, I wanted to solely focus on dance classes. And a year later, I feel like, hey, I really feel and think like I can do more and still be able to manage both the classes and also the commercial, the agency side of things. And then thankfully, I found like good people, Eliza and Donna, to come on board. And back then we had Darren as well to come on board to make this happen. So what Babel Dance is an academy which we teach classes, and also an agency where we do agency work, which is like commercials, shoots. We supply dances, and we work with Genting and Zouk. Yeah. And what we do in classes, because we are based in the gym, so when I started, I had 3 core. I told Boon that I wanted to really keep my essence and my identity as a teacher and as a dancer. And thankfully, I was very blessed that my boss was like very receptive to what I was giving. And he said, okay, do what you want to do. So I have, I think my most known brand would be Grind, which is what I teach in heels, is what I usually see online as well. That's where I explore like sensuality and like confidence and expression. So that's the class that I love teaching. And then the other class that I do is choreography, which is a little bit more a mix of styles. We call it commercial, but it's what you usually see on YouTube. Like dance routines you see on YouTube. And another one that I have when I started is called Groove Thang. It's a very basic foundation class where it's basically teaching people how to party, just party moves. That's fun. I started from there and then kind of branch out a little bit more into kind of the fitness and dance hybrid, because we're still at a gym and I wanted to be able to cater and kind of spread the love of dance to people who don't really dance but feel like there's this little like, hey, I like it, but I don't want to feel too pressured learning the steps. So then we created the more hybrid classes. And ever since then, I think we've got a few converts where just wanted to kind of work out dance and then felt like they had the confidence to push themselves a little bit more into exploring dance as an expression and art form, which I feel is what Babel Dance is about. Is trying to just like recruit people like, hey, I know you like dance and I know I can push you, and kind of like there's this button I can push to like convert you. So I think that's my role and in this dance industry and this like creative scene as well as Babel Dance. Yeah.
I literally mean this from the bottom of my heart. I can't commend you enough of what you do for people's confidence. I see as Malaysia is a relatively conservative nation for cultural reasons, and you've really taught people how to express themselves to the level where they post videos, they post stories, and they're like, this is me, and this is the best version of me. And you see people getting a lot of love back, and you have a super positive community. And it's like, it's really inspiring to look at, because you see people of all different shapes and sizes who previously may have been a little bit shy about their body shape or their image, and they come out there and they celebrate them for who they are, and the energy that they put in, I have to admit, it is really, it takes it into an art form, but also takes it, as I said, into a community, which I think is hugely inspirational. So congratulations. I think it's incredible what you've done. So let me ask you this. Let's say someone is out there. We have a lot of people who watch who are graduates. We also have people of all different walks of life, right? So if someone is back there and they're A, want to get interested in how to start, or B, more to the core point, they lack the confidence to say, I don't want people to look at me, I don't want to feel that I don't know what I'm doing. What would be your strongest words of advice? You've got a lot of people out there, as you say, you've pushed that button where people have taken that step. So what would be your advice to someone who has started at a backing dancer and now become really prominent, to anyone out there who would love to give it a shot, but maybe is a little bit shy?
I think for those who are shy, to be honest, you just gotta do it. There's no other way. You just gotta show up and just do it. I recently had this girl coming to my class, and she said that she just wants to feel like she's comfortable dancing at a party, and I said, I got you, and she said, but she just can't get herself out of like her own head. And I said, then come to class and dress up and show up. And that usually will kind of set the tone for yourself, your own head, your own mentality. And we're all visual, right? So we see ourselves in the mirror like, hey, like, yeah, I've dressed up for this. Like, I can't let myself down. So it's that step that you got to do even before you start working on any of the moves, is to work on like your head space. Yeah, so I think that would be my advice for people who want to start.
Hey, that's fantastic. And I think I speak to a lot of different people. I speak to DJs, I speak to management. We spoke to a barber in Las Vegas, we spoke to you, and the message is always the same. Just try. Because you have nothing to lose by trying it, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you don't just go out there, and you might be surprised. And I think one of the things that I would really encourage people to do is just watch the videos from Babel Dance. You'll see the cheering in the background. That people must feel, yeah, I've done it. Even if it's a simple step and people are encouraging you, I think that's half the battle. Rather than, no one will judge you. No one will ever judge you for trying.
That's true. Yeah, that's one thing that I really encourage in my classes too, is the cheering. And like, I really, really, truly believe that the portal of giving and receiving is the same. So I always encourage people, you have to cheer for others, and you have to take the cheer from people too, because that's how we get through life, right? So that's what I really like my class environment to.
As we call it in Malaysia, give chance. You got to give chance.
Is.
So Maybelline, tell me, what's next? What's next for you? What's next for Team Mayhem? What's in the plans for? Let's put 2020 behind us. Let's look at 2021. What are your hopes? What are your dreams? And what are your plans?
2021. I definitely. So we have a small. We have a small space coming up. So it's what we call it's a studio. We call it Studio B. So it's pretty exciting, because I think that's the space where I get to kind of dive in deeper into dance, because all along we've been like at a gym and doing classes at a gym. So now finally we get to like have out, even though it's not great, it's not like a big space, but I think this is where I get to kind of push my students and also expose them to different dance styles and for them to dive a bit deeper. So I'm excited to build Studio B. It's very near Menarakan in Taman Tun. Other than that, I think it's time for the team to really push ourselves in terms of like the creativity, because I think last year it's more of just building our company and what we're about and finding a foot in this industry. And I believe through MCO, we really like, I feel like my team really just exceeded our own expectation in terms of being able to bring music and dance and joy and spread that. And I feel like that's what our essence is, and that's what I want to really kind of explore more into, like how can we have a more deeper and meaningful impact to our community and our industry.
And can I ask you something? What do you think of the movement through social media of things like TikTok that has obviously encouraged people to hit the dance platform? I see it all the time. Do you think it's a good thing?
Oh yeah, fantastic. I think it's amazing, because back then you wouldn't see someone who's like, I don't know, like a 50-year-old mother would even want to explore dance, right? But now because the kids are doing it and the kids are like, hey mom, do this with me. And she'd be like, oh, okay. And then they get hooked into it because there's an interaction with human beings and interaction with people online, and it's all with the base of like dance. So I think it's doing a wonderful thing where it's spreading the joy of dance in a non sort of competitive or non, like it's not so intimidating, because some people when they come for class they're like, oh, I love watching your videos, but it's scary, it's intimidating, and I don't know what to do. But with TikTok, you can learn it, and you just take as long as you want to do it in your room, and then when you put it out there, you're like, hey, I did it. So it's kind of like at your own pace, at your own time. I think it's wonderful.
And also, I want to pick your brains for people out there who may not be as familiar with the scene as you are. Who are some of the big names internationally? I mean, I've seen videos of you. You've danced in Japan before. You've traveled to dance, China. So who are some of the big names in Asia, especially Southeast Asia? Always want to rep Southeast Asia to the rest of the world, because people in Las Vegas will see this from Zouk Las Vegas, people in Singapore from Zouk Singapore, Zouk at Sea in Hong Kong. Who should people be checking out that are really good icons? You talked about the different scenes. Maybe we can promote some of the guys from KL in the different scenes, but where else do you think people can home in and say, these are the big names that can inspire people to get into dance?
Wow, there's so many out there. I think in Southeast Asia, Singaporeans are actually doing a wonderful job. They've been doing this jam called RF Jam, and also Summer Dance Camp for many years. I think RF Jam started as a b-boy battle, and then 10 years later they're just like huge scale battle that people from all over the world come over. And there's also like dance classes. Besides dance battles, there's also like the workshops and all that. So Singapore Radical Force crew, they're doing amazing work for Southeast Asia. So in Thailand, there's this guy who's doing also dance camps, and he brought in quite a lot of like international dancers. And just it was really great, because a lot of people from different countries, not just in the region but all over the world, also went over for it. So I think they were also really pushing Southeast Asia and putting us on the map too. Yeah.
What about, quickly before you go, what about things like Zumba? When I used to be a member of the gym in downtown KL, there used to be queues. Literally, it was first come first serve. They wouldn't even let you pre-book to the Zumba classes. I think these classes also give a certain amount of power to older generation people who maybe not into the b-boy movement, maybe they're not into the more modern dances, but I think there's definitely some credit that should go to these kind of classes. I mean, even where I'm from in the UK, people are taking up things like ballroom again, because you're thinking of your wedding first dance perhaps. So there's different dance flows that are now making a comeback, because people are saying, hey, I don't mind, I tried this, or I feel more comfortable with this. Or what do you think of the old school moves as well?
I think it's really cute. Zumba is just a movement that just took the world by storm. And there's so much I feel for us dancers to learn from it. Like, how the hell did they do it? It's insane. And you're right. I think I I mean I don't believe in putting down anything that's not um pure or whatever they call it. But it's just this the spirit of getting people to come together to dance is incredible. And I think Zumba did it. And like what you said now, like TikTok is doing it. So they definitely deserve all the credit.
Who knows? I might don my black tie for some ballroom one day soon.
You should. You should. I started taking salsa classes. It's so much fun.
Yeah. I can imagine. And I met someone in Kuala Lumpur once who had lived in Nicaragua before and did rumba, and was like, rumba is everything. And I was like, wow. So I think there's 1,000 styles. You just got to find the one that suits you best, right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. And I think it changes in like different phases of your life too. At one point, I was like, oh, At one point, I actually really liked whacking. I was like, oh, I want to be a whacker and I want to be good at this. And then after a while, I think, and like how you feel towards music just kind of changes, or you have different interests. You're like, no, actually, I think this feels more like me, or I want to feel more of this. And then you kind of just find yourself. So I think dance is really strongly connected to your growth as a human being. And you should always listen to what you really like. And that's another thing that I always like to share. If some people ask, like, oh, there's so many styles out there. Oh, which one do I know? Which one do I like? And my answer, which is what was the same question I asked my teachers before, and he said, what is the music that you like? The music will always be your guide. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, here in let's call it the disco generation, you had like Saturday Night Fever in clubs, obviously became supremely famous because of John Travolta, then you had the Bee Gees, etc. And then nowadays, I remember the first time I saw a hardstyle act, and Muzzing was performed, and it was performed like 1,000 people. And I was literally turned to my colleague Kim and I said, what on earth are they doing? And she was like, Joe, this music has its own dance. I remember thinking, look, when I went to Ibiza 10 years ago, it was all just fist pumping, right? And nowadays people have their own like move, flow, and all the rest. And I was thinking, wow, what is going on? But when you see it and you see people smiling and they're sharing this, and I don't know you, but you are also doing it, so we're connected because we have the same interest, I get goosebumps. I think, wow, this is why I got into clubs in the first place, to see people having an awesome time. But even the hardstyle movement with their own dance move is something really powerful. It really connects people, and I think it's awesome. It really makes it interesting for me to go and look at.
Yeah, totally agree. Because I think like that kind of connection on the dance floor, it's something that you cannot explain. Like you don't have to talk, you don't have to. It's just like movement and music, and you instantly just recognize each other. I miss that feeling. You must miss it so much.
Big time. I mean, I got into this because 15 years ago I went to my first ever club that I worked at, China White, and I saw everyone singing along to a JARU Rule song. And I just remember, no matter what problems they're having in life, no matter whether they got fired or dumped or having a bad week, for that 2 or 3 hours, they just had the best time. Probably the best time of the week. And now I really miss I miss two aspects. One is the anticipation as people are outside in the queue to go in, and then they see Zouk Genting for the first time, and they walk through the tunnel and they take a photo, and then they walk into this room, huge screen, lights, CO2, and miss them. I always miss the moment in vocal songs where people close their eyes and sing along, because I feel that they're just in the zone. You can't ruin that moment for them. I think that's the best time. Or when you stand, if you're lucky enough, you stand in a DJ booth where you get a vantage point and you see 1,000 people in unison, no idea who each other are. You can see this at a concert, you can see this at any particular group gathering, but everyone's on the same page and they're there for good vibes. They're not there for any negative reason. There's nothing that can disturb that. I think it's a powerful movement. I think it has its place in society. It's a celebration of music, and I greatly miss that. But it will come back. It will come back for sure.
Yeah. Just you like saying all that gave me like little goosebumps. That's incredible. Just that feeling of seeing people connect on the floor. It's unexplainable.
I have greatly enjoyed this chat. It's made me smile a lot all the way through, and I really thank you, Maybelline. I mean, I'm lucky enough to know you as a person. Obviously, we've interviewed Adam before. Adam's spoken with myself and Ron for Las Vegas, so we know Adam as well. We've done plenty of work together, but it never felt like work. It was always super fun. You helped us launch Empire, Zouk, Fuhu, Zouk Live, and we owe you massively because the success of these events and these clubs were thanks to your hard work, because you put emotion and passion into it. It was really special moments. But more importantly, it's just everything is a positive vibe with you, which I really love. I mean, you guys have, as I said, empowered women who may not have had confidence before, and now the power and the force that they put into these dance moves, and the fact that they tag other people in the community and you all show each other love and celebrate each other, is something that I highly recommend people check out. Because even if I've had a rough day and I've worked 12 hours and I get back on the cable car and I go down, when I see these videos, I can't help but smile. I smile because people are just really enjoying themselves and connected with other people who have their best interests at heart. And I think it's so much more than an activity. It's like a movement, and it's really powerful. So thank you so much for taking the time. I'll always appreciate this chat, and I can't wait to see what else is coming out. I can't wait to see people live their best life through this expression. I mean, and it's never ever been more available to people. And I think that's the amazing thing. It's literally possible for absolutely anyone watching this, no matter your age, no matter your shape, no matter your fitness or even your health. You can give it a shot in a small way or even a large way. And I think you really deserve a lot of credit in Malaysia for kicking that off for us.
Thank you so much, Joe. Likewise, I think we've always enjoyed working with you, and it's always felt like a back and forth kind of like energy exchange and ideas. So it's been such a pleasure being able to just create with you.
And your parting message, as you've already said, give it a try, but give us your top 3 tips to anyone, whether they're seasoned vets, whether they're trying for the first time, whether they're just trying to get to grips. Tell us great 3 tips for people who, when it comes to engaging in dance.
All right, my top 3 tips. I think for dancers who've been dancing for a while, sometimes even for myself, when I feel I don't know what I'm doing anymore, and you feel like you're just churning out things, and that happens to many of us. What I do is I take a moment to pause and look around me, and if I feel like nothing in my life is inspiring, or it doesn't have to be good to be inspiring. It could be something really bad to inspire me to choreograph or have a session of dance that's around that theme. I really encourage you to look around to like what's happening to people around you, because that's where I usually get inspiration, by just really listening to their story and then being able to put your art and create something by thinking of their story, because that will help them go through things and help you understand from a different perspective. So that's one thing I do. For dancers, for people who want to take dance who has never tried it before, like I said earlier, it's just something that you gotta just go for it. You just gotta go do it and dress for it. I always strongly believe in like dressing up for it, and that sets you in a different headspace already. And if you're shy, wear a cap, and just like feel yourself out with it and just like get in the zone, and then slowly kind of take it out if you feel like it, but definitely dress up. And if you don't know what kind of dance you like, and I said earlier, it will just what music you like listening to, and that will be your guide. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, what a fitting end. And thank you again, Maybelline. Please send our love to Donna, Eliza, Adam, the crew, Team Babel, Team Mayhem, the works, and we can't wait to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Joe. I can't wait to see you too.
Take care.
Take care.